Hey guys, I'm Brian, and this is Smokey Uncuffed. So, I know, I've been missing in action here for a little bit. It's been probably about a month since I let a video go, and the last one was a vacation video. I've actually got 2 or 3 more videos and tons of hours of footage, and that part of it I'm just being lazy because I just, editing those things takes forever. So we've had a lot of stuff going on around here, and time has been the devil in the process here, fighting it, trying to get stay ahead of everything else we've got going on. So today, what I'm going to talk about, it's something we get asked about quite a bit. Law enforcement does, and it's the differences in DUI, APC, and then I'm going to throw in there PI, which is public intox. Which everybody knows DUI is driving under the influence of alcohol. APC is actual physical control of a motor vehicle while under the influence of intoxicants. And then PI, of course, is public intox. So we'll hit the easiest one first, and that's going to be PI. So public intox is, boy, it's hard to really pinpoint because it's one of those that if you're out and about and you're in the public, and just to clarify, when you're in a car and you're driving down a roadway, you're not afforded privacy in that situation. So if you're intoxicated in that car, you're wrong. I mean, you're in the public. So if you're out and about and you come in contact with an officer, been drinking, and just the odor itself is not going to do it. I mean, just because you smell like a beer, that's not it. Now, you smell like a beer or like a brewery and you're acting a fool, well, yeah, that's probably going to draw attention to you. Or, I mean, anything, if you're fighting and been drinking, if you're causing any kind of a scene and been drinking, or you're just flat hard to deal with. I mean, that right there, we know as a general rule, a normal person is not going to be that hard to deal with. They may not agree with what we say all the time, but they're not going to be belligerent about it and just real, flamboyant about it. So that pretty much encompasses PI, public intox. Because that's not something we got to have a quantitative amount to tell you you're public intox. We don't have to do breath test on you. You just have to display characteristics that are common with somebody that's intoxicated, and then you smell like alcohol on top of it. Or let's throw alcohol out. You have the characteristics of being on a drug of some sort. Public intox still applies. I mean, any of those things, whenever you've been doing any kind of outside substance that would alter your actions, you fall under it. So that one's kind of an umbrella deal. So that's when you've been doing that stuff, you really got to be careful because it can land you in jail too. So the next one I'll talk about is DUI, simply because everybody knows what it means, driving under the influence. In Oklahoma, 0.08 alcohol concentration is driving under the influence for somebody 21 years of age and older. For under 21, it's 0.02. Which, I'll help you out, it's about a beer. So legally, if you've had a beer, you're under 21, you're driving down the road, you're nailed. And that's one of those deals, our hands are tied on most of those things because there's not a lot we can do with it. If I'm on an interstate system, you've been drinking and you're not allowed to be drinking, and you're over the limit. Now what? So I know, it's not a great deal. So you're out on the interstate and you're underage and been drinking. We don't have an option. You kind of tie our hands on that. If you're over the limit, you're over the limit. So next on it is 21 or older, and your 0.06 to 0.08 alcohol concentration. That's driving while impaired. It is much along the same lines as DUI, driving under the influence, but the monetary side of it's not as high, and it doesn't suspend your license, doesn't have as much effect on your license. However, it still does have many of the same consequences. So that just means you're not quite at DUI level, but at DWI you are still jailed and still have to do the mandatory 8 hours for an alcohol-related crime. So at 0.08 and above, you're DUI. So DUI is, I once had an attorney tell me that generally a DUI costs between $2,000 and $3,000. Once you get through all the legal fees, you get all the stuff through the state to make it where your license gets suspended, but a lot of times they'll give you an interlock so you can go back and forth to work on those little tubes that you blow in so your car will run. And that's usually just on the first or second offense. I mean, once you're a multiple offender, they don't even try to let you do that stuff. And that time your license gets suspended just gets to be more and more each time you get one. So with that, I mean, you can see that like here, whenever you get your license suspended and you got to get it back, it costs you like $1,000 to get your license back. The fine for driving without a driver's license, if you get caught after that, is $500 in this county. The county just north of me is $1,000. I mean, you can see what I'm saying. These things just kind of snowball. Once you fall into this, if you're somebody that gets pulled over a lot, it's really going to cost you. It's going to hit you where it hurts. Okay, so the next one up is aggravated DUI, which is 0.15 in Oklahoma. The DUI level is 0.08, and remember DWI is 0.06. Aggravated DUI is 0.15. I mean, that is almost double of what regular DUI is. And generally when you've had that much alcohol, you probably don't have don't need to be out walking and standing around, much less driving a car, because you've had a lot of alcohol. That is a lot of intake. So now the fines on that, obviously much higher. I'm not going to try to get in and sit here and pinpoint because those things change a lot, and I've been gone for several months now. I don't know exactly where they're at. I'm going to tell you they're going to probably be, you're going to end up about $3,000 or $4,000 when you're all said and done, and your license gets suspended for 6 months. So you just got to weigh that. And the part we're not looking at is once you've got all that, it's now on your record. For that stuff to come off your record, you've got to wait X amount of days or X amount of months, usually 6 months or more past it. And I'm not even sure if you can do that with aggravated DUI. I haven't even checked into that side of it. The legal fees, the lawyer fees and that, it's a long fight, a long fight. So the next one is APC. APC stands for Actual Physical Control While Under the Influence of Intoxicants. So what that means, you've pulled off on the shoulder, you've been drinking, you decided you had too much, and you pull over and just take a nap right there, but you're intoxicated. You're still wrong, because if you have the keys in your pocket, or the keys in the ignition, or the keys in the passenger seat where they're readily accessible, and you can have the ability to drive that vehicle, you're in actual physical control of that motor vehicle, even if it's not moving down the road. So what that tells you is, I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword. If you figure out once you're driving down the road that you've had too much to drink, you're too late. That's what they're getting at. You shouldn't have left wherever you were at, because once you're out on that road, once you've gone somewhere and parked and you run into law enforcement, you're still in actual physical control of it. Most of the time whenever we actually charge that, when they've pulled up to a stop sign and put it in park, perfect example, put it in park at train tracks because the train was coming, and so they were going to wait on the train, and they fell asleep. And then the train leaves, they're still parked there. Well, that's actual physical control of a motor vehicle. You weren't in motion, but the car you were in was running, keys were in the ignition, you were sound asleep due to alcohol intake. So that's actual physical control of a motor vehicle. And as I was saying, it doesn't have to be running. You just got to be able to sit here and you go, oh, well, the keys are in your pocket. That vehicle works and operates. And you were standing just outside its door. Has actual physical control. I mean, that what it's saying is you got access to drive a car after you've been drinking. So in the end, I mean, basically, just stay away from any kind of intoxicant and operating a vehicle. I mean, that is your safest bet, because I mean, I know there's people say, oh, I can have 2 and I'll be all right. Well, maybe not. There's a lot of things that play a factor into that. How much have you eaten today? How much fluid intake have you had? Because a lot of that stuff is just the chemistry of your body, and if you haven't had enough of everything else, that alcohol may just take over. So, things to look at. I just don't tempt fate. I mean, if I'm going to drink anything, I just stay at home. If I was going to go somewhere, now I'm not going. I mean, that makes it that simple. So that's basically a rundown of public intox, actual physical control, driving while impaired, and driving under the influence. I didn't get into fines and stuff because honestly at this point I don't know, because those things do change a lot and they usually just go one direction. I mean, that's every time I've moved, they've gone up. They had never gone down. So in the end, yeah, you're going to be jailed. The monetary side, all that's bad. In the end of it, it's the safety side. You get out there and get in a crash, and now in Oklahoma you get in a crash, and say you kill somebody and you were intoxicated, you will now be charged with at least murder too. So, big deal. I mean, we're talking prison. So, and I'm not disagreeing with it. You, grown adult, you knew better, and you got out there and hit somebody. Just the way it's going to fall now. So basically, guys, I mean, I'm just trying to hit on this stuff. We're getting right here near the end of summer. It's real hot outside, and people still recognize me, remember that I worked highway patrol, even though, I mean, it was only 4 or 5 months ago. And so I still get asked questions about these things. And sadly, now that I'm on this side of the law, when people ask me, well, man, what should I do? You know, I got a DUI, and I always tell them, you shouldn't drink and drive. I mean, that, and I know what you're thinking, man, you're a jerk. Well, what do you want me to say? You don't see me out there running around like that. You don't see my family out there running around like that. We know that's a big no-no. So I will field these questions, and I'll help people however I can. I mean, I do know things happen, and you didn't plan on having to drive. Something came up. You had to go. You didn't feel like you had a alternative. Unfortunately, there's always an alternative. You can always call somebody to come get you, or you can just not go to whatever it is. And it's not always the best thing that in your mind what needs to happen, but it's the way it's got to go, because the alternative, what could happen, is just not worth it. So guys, that's going to be about it for this one. I am going to do my best not to wait a month before I let another video go. Just like I said, we've had a lot of stuff going, and so been trying to stay on top of everything and just hadn't got her done. So that's going to be it for this one. If you guys haven't done so yet, please subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.